Oh, this is the Monday, 11th of January. Cluster Kubernetes SIG cluster lifecycle and cluster API provider for AWS meeting. Please be aware we abide by the CNCF code of conduct. Be excellent to each other. And we are also using the hand signals. So if you can pull up participants and use raise hand if you want to make a point. I'll throw the link to the doc one more time in chat. You can add your name to the attending. And we'll get started. So I guess there's no other PSAs other than Happy New Year to everyone. It's good. In 2021, it's not got off to the greatest of starts, I suppose, but hopefully, things can improve, and hopefully won't be as bad as 2020, I guess. Just if you've got stuff to add to the agenda, please do. I've added just two things. So first of all, don't know if we want to create a new doc. So I know Class API's got a new doc for 2021. We don't need to. One reason we might want to though is that this document's owned by VMware, and we went through a G Suite migration, which broke all the links. And the recommendation is not to use corporate accounts for docs. So if everyone's happy, I will create a new doc for my personal Gmail and share that, and then update. That will mean I will have to update the community repo, and then hopefully the new calendar invite should go out with the new document link. So unless anyone's got any objections, I'm going to do that this week. Just make a one that isn't at risk of having its URL changed, basically. I'll take silence as content on that one. And just okay, next one is me on V1 Alpha 4. So we had 2 meetings last year, I believe, about it, and then I kind of gone silent and we had a bit of reorg, and VMware have been doing other things. I haven't done a lot of work on it. So in terms of the API design for that, there's an upcoming proposal for UX in Cluster API Core, which is going to address things like cluster templates. So one of the concerns I had was if you for people, as it's been some time, the idea about V1 Alpha 4 is potentially deconstructing the AWS cluster object into its separate VPC components, but then you have a lot more boilerplate YAML, which makes it difficult for users to get started. So there is going to be a proposal in core that will address that. So hopefully the V1 Alpha 4 design of Kappa can rely on that feature. And the other bit of it is the load balancer proposal is going forward, which is another thing inside in Cluster API Core, and we will have load balancer constructs in Kappa to do this, to be that load balancer. So there's some interaction with stuff in core that needs to be handled. That on time. In terms of timelines, we are now looking for the middle of the year for V1 Alpha 4, because there's going to be quite a few changes to Cluster API Core, and we're going to have to spend some time dealing with that. And then finally, my last question is on AMIs. Now, we had a issue. So there's 2 issues here. One is, how do you rotate AMIs other than a Kubernetes release? So say you have a CVE in the Linux kernel, you want to replace that AMI. There isn't an easy mechanism today to roll out that new AMI. You basically have to create if you're using the default publishing mechanism, there's no way to guarantee what AMI your EC2 instance launch would. And the other issue that Sadef has been kind of working on is if you want to do root EBS volume encryption, you need to copy the AMI into your private account. So we're adding that to cluster AWS ADM, but do we want a CRD and controller to handle AMI copying between accounts? I don't know if that's a use case others have, because I think that will also affect EKS, because you don't want to use a public AMI there as well. You want to copy it to the customer account and with a given KMS key ID, and then have the new instances use that AMI instead. So this should affect all of us. So be interested to see what other people think. Richard.
Yeah, I think it's just sounds reasonable to me. It's not something I'd overly considered, to be honest, but actually, yeah, sounds good. I like the explicit nature of it as well. If it's a new CRD or some other mechanism, but yeah.
Okay, I'll mill away at that. So yeah, I'll pull that together in 2 weeks. So we'll have a joint load balancer proposal for core and the Kappa v1 alpha 4. I don't know what's happening around the UX, so that bit will probably stay a gap for a while. Vince is working on that. I don't know who else is, but I'll work with him and see where we are on that. All right, next item, the /exp folder.
Yeah, so this came out of a change that Mike did regarding removing a field from the launch template. So he had a question about, I think you asked whether it was a breaking change. I guess it is removing a field, so I guess it would complain. But then it was like, well, is there any relaxing of rules if a CRD is defined within the EXP, folder, or does it have to be, abide by the usual rules of, the alpha API? So if you have a breaking change, you should increment the actual version number. So that's not something I know, so I was just more of I don't know. Is it EXP special, or is it just to note that things it might be unreliable? So perhaps something we have to investigate, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I haven't. We're just to be clear, we're not using AWS Smashing Pool yet, so we don't VMware doesn't have a specific concern around that. I had actually forgotten it was an EXP before I asked that question. That was more of a general comment. It was more like if you have end users who are using that, then it's up to you, basically. I just wanted to make it clear to users. But if it's never been used and it's not, if people haven't been filling it in and it's not going to error them, then it's fine. It's just we should probably put a release note
I think so.
I think.
I guess we could be asked on the channel as well if anyone's actually specifically using that.
Yeah, makes sense. You want to take the next one as well?
Yeah, I also had a quick question on the API design one as well about the UX. Because there was a proposal as well to support another templating language or templating mechanism for the cluster flavors. Do you think do you know if that's going to roll into this, or so something like allowing YTT instead of relying on the env subst?
I don't know. So I think concretely, YTT will not become part of core cluster API. So I think right now it's supposed to be
Yeah.
We YTT concretely we can't use YTT because YTT is not a CNCF project. So it would be unreasonable to put a requirement on that, given that it's a VMware project. It's not great to make cluster API reliant on something that isn't a community sponsored project. You should be able to plug YTT in. I think maybe I don't know, maybe there's something else in this CNCF that could be in core. I don't know, like around maybe CDKs, maybe. I don't know actually. It could be some options there, but we can't make that. Yeah, we don't want to push like a VMware specific project onto people, so we won't chase that one down. Unless there's huge demand for it. But...
Yeah, I guess I was just more curious whether whether it's YTT or something else. Just know that there was a proposal to support a more expressive templating language within the cluster flavors. But yeah, I can have a look. I can dig into that, but just more of a curiosity.
Yeah, maybe ping Fabrizio.
Okay.
He might. I think it was intentionally designed that you could plug something external in, but I've not played with it enough to know the concrete details. But Fabrizio or Lauren will know.
The next one was me, wasn't it? So it's more just an update on the EKS EndtoEnd Test. So they basically started to fail from just before everyone went on holiday, so they were passing and then they started to fail. So I've made some changes to make the tests clean up better. We didn't when you did a delete cluster. Some of the controllers were kicking in before, so that, for example, the AWS Smashing Pool controller was kicking in and trying to delete the node groups and stuff like that out of order. So I've added some changes that says don't try and delete the EKS cluster until its dependencies, i.e. its node groups, have been deleted and stuff. So I've added some orchestration of the delete into it, and then I've literally just re-enabled the upgrade test after adding all of this cleanup stuff in there, but it takes a long time. I guess is the thing, and because of that, I've written the test in a very specific way to be additive. So it starts off, performs an operation, does a test on the same cluster. So I guess, do I need to? I've written some very, very basic documentation, but do we think a more involved documentation is needed? I guess it's just put it out there, or a session on it, and why it's that way. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's the same for all of the E2E tests, because we did a similar thing with the unmanaged one as well, where we tried to make the test additive as well on some of the bits. So I don't know. Maybe someone who's newer. I don't know actually. Maybe.
Yeah, I think I personally think it's probably a good idea. Just I found it quite impenetrable initially and time consuming. So I guess if I just think back to my experience, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to work with you on that. Yeah. So, do you want to start like a HackMD and then?
Yeah, cool.
Right in there and then change that to a PR. Yeah,
sounds good. But I also noticed that a lot of the Cappy test framework assumes kubeadm. So there's instances where I've had to re-implement methods just temporarily and raise issues in upstream to make them less hard coded to assume that kubeadm, say, control plane is there. so that we will have to remove certain bits in the future when that's fixed. But yeah, I will start with how can do. Yep.
That's interesting. And just finally on the orchestration bit that you mentioned, is that orchestration happening in the test, or did you change the controllers to?
No, I put it into the controllers to make the tests pass. Also had a, yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, and I've done it so it tests on the CRDs as opposed, because Mike raised a question about, well, we could query the node groups directly, and I was like, well, it's probably the managed control plane relies on the managed machine pool, not the fact that it says no group behind. That's too much information. So I just do it based on, is that CRD instance still available or
That makes perfect sense. Cool. All right. Setup also E2E.
Yes. So our Cappy E2E tests are working now, but it takes too much time, especially HA cluster upgrade, but that's working. Also, I had to do some changes in AWS Smashing Pool, but these are non-breaking, so we should be okay. I'd appreciate if someone can review those. Also, I'll create a periodic job for it. Since it takes too long, I mean, how long is reasonable for a periodic job for Cappy E2E? Like, should it be daily? I think daily might make sense. I just wanted to check that.
We currently do on changes to master and daily, I think, which I think should be okay.
Okay. And yeah.
What was too long, by the way? What was?
Like longer than 3 hours.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because especially KC HA cluster upgrade takes too long. Even with the Cappy, it takes long, but with Cappy, it takes longer.
Oh wow! I wasn't expecting that. Okay. Yeah, let's do on master. Let's do daily. Might as well do to master, and if we get lots of messages in Outlook, or if other people, or if let's keep an eye on Boscos, I guess, that we're not using too much capacity.
Okay. And also, I'm going to upgrade Cappy to version 3.12. So I don't think there will be any breaking changes between them, because there are some fixes that the tests require. Also, the other thing is, so I will proceed to like rebase V1 Alpha 4 as we spoke before the new year, so that we can merge it to the master branch and start innovating on it.
Did we say we were going to do master branch, or we were going to have, I think I'm just looking at the December 14th.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
We were going to have a release 07 branch, which I have created, I think. So.
Oh, okay, I'll check.
I'm pretty certain I have. So yeah, you want to rewrite face onto release 07. Cool. That's all we had on the agenda. Oh, Richard.
Yeah, just related to the V1 Alpha 4. I was helping someone, a new contributor, over Christmas break. So they went through the process of creating forks, pulling everything down, but they automatically just pulled down the latest Cappy. So that was on V1 Alpha 4, and then so they didn't use the 07 branch. So then there was problems with the different API versions, and the conversion webhooks weren't working using that combination. So it's probably just something to be aware of.
Yeah, good point. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that, but I guess we just need docs. We need to.
Yeah, I basically told him to pull down a version of Cappy that was still on V1 Alpha 3. Yeah. But yeah, we can put it in the docs if you want.
All right. And Xiao's just asked in chat around issue 2169. Not require NAT gateway when consuming existing AWS infrastructure. And 2170, yes, I guess. So is this for the AWS managed cluster?
Yes. Yeah, I just want to know if I can start it to send PR or we need more discussion in the issue before we start implementing it.
Yeah, I think if you're using existing AWS infrastructure, we shouldn't be dependent on the gateway type. That's correct. I think if you've got a PR in mind, yeah, I would do that.
Sure.
And 2170, continuing existing security group without requiring cluster name tag, so that different cluster can consume same security group create before. Okay.
Yeah, this is the use case. Like we have another team manage security group, so they will create a security group for all our accounts in advance, and we in our security model, right? Multiple cluster could use the same security group. It's a flat network; they can communicate with each other as a group. So, but in our AWS model, we somehow have a one-to-one relationship. Says each cluster needs to have a security group. That is, we want to see if we can make it more generic to allow multiple cluster using the same security group.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense as well. I haven't got an idea on hand how to do that. If you've got a idea about how to do that, maybe just write that down and then maybe open the PR and stuff. Just one of the, I guess, issues around any of these. Oh, this is an EKS services. I guess that's fine. I don't know if
it should be right. It should be. We should allow that.
Yeah, probably.
Thanks. Thanks. Then I'll try to implement it. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. If you need a hand, just feel free to ping me as well.
Cool.
All right. Yeah. By the way, if you do start a PR, if you just put like Lifecycle active, or just say you're starting work on it, just so that we know, and then somebody else doesn't start trying to also do the work and without knowing you've already started. That's great.
Gotcha.
Okay, I think that's everything. Oh, is that everything? I think so. All right then. If there's nothing else, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Cool. See you.
Bye.